didn't have to talk, but it's kind of boring if I don't. It's funny, in person he's quieter around people, and I talk, and I'm a teacher, so, you know, talk with people. But anytime I make videos like this, I don't ever know what to say. However, we're baling hay today, and out of all the things, it's my favorite thing to help them do is square bale hay, because I like making pretty square bales. Sorry, I gotta get around this corner. And I hope you like looking at the side of my face, because that's what you're going to see a lot of. But anywho, this field is probably the flattest field that we bale, and I love it. It's so fun to bale this field because you just drive straight and you can just keep driving. You know, a lot of fields you got to turn and up and down and around. But this one, this is a nice, pretty flat, goes long ways, and you can just drive. It's nice. But the first time I ever drove in this field, Dennis had me come ted hay. So of course he rides around with me, him showing me what to do, and then he let me start, and I rode around for a little bit with him in here. And I don't remember if he went to the other field that's near here and started mowing, maybe? Not sure where he went, but anywho, I was tedding hay in the dark. So the first time he ever taught me to ted hay was at night, because he works all day for the construction company, you know. So most of the time, he's working in the evenings or at night doing other stuff, farming, cut wood. So anyways, I was tedding hay, and I probably tedded some spots 2 and 3 times because it was hard to figure out. I think maybe he had already tedded it once, so this was the second go round of tedding it, and I just went over it and over it to try to make sure that I had tedded everything. It was so funny. That's how it always goes, though. The first time he ever taught me how to mow hay was at night. I don't really love mowing, though. Tedding's fun. It's a lot faster than baling. You know, you drive a lot faster. So, I don't know if I love it as much. But I do like tedding. I raked in this field, too. I've probably done the most in this field. I didn't mow it, but I've raked in this field and tedded in this field, baled in this field. It's just a good field to learn how to do stuff in. And he's a good teacher because he does it first and explains, and then he rides with me, make sure I got everything under control, and then he turns me loose, lets me do it. That's how I like it. I like for him to show me stuff and then let me try. And it's up to me if I want to do it or not. Like when we were first together that first year, 11 years ago, wow, he showed me how to run a chainsaw. I always cut wood and stuff with Mom and Dad growing up, but, you know, I didn't run a chainsaw. I just carried the wood and stacked wood and stuff. So he showed me how to run one. I haven't done it in years, but he taught me how to do it because I wanted to. Got to make sure there's not a problem back there. You don't want to have it get full and not dump the bales out, because then you got a problem. And I've done that. All the rookie mistakes, I've done that. I filled up the accumulator and had to dig bales out, and then I've baled with only one side of the string because it ran out of rope and I didn't catch it, so I try to watch right before it goes up into the accumulator. Now make sure both strings are there, or watch and make sure there's not any kind of, sometimes when a bale doesn't go down all the way, it'll trip it, and so it doesn't actually get tinned. So it helps if you catch that before he starts loading them, because then you can go back there and make sure it gets it. You should have been around. He wasn't making YouTube videos when he first taught me how to bale. I was terrible on the corners. It was so bad. So bad. But right there, I didn't do the best. Gracious. Good thing he doesn't judge me. He's grateful for the help, so normally he doesn't say anything negative about it, and I appreciate that. But anyways, when he first taught me, I would do such a bad job at the corners and then trying to get into the end of the windrows, because depending on which direction you're turning into it, you know, you either got to drive past it then turn, or start turning before you get to it. Those are just all things you got to figure out from operating. And I got to pay all my life being raised on a beef farm, but me and my sisters and brother, mom, we all rode the wagon. I didn't ever drive the tractor. My twin sister went, because my brother's 8 years older, so my twin sister went and she learned how to rake and do everything with Dad, so I gardened with Mom. And I'm thankful for that, because now, if you would have asked me when I was younger if I would have wanted to, I would have said no way, but I actually love gardening now. It's such a blessing when the good Lord helps you raise things. You know, you get it in the ground and you can go outside and check, and everything's coming up. All that hard work, working the dirt. Dorsey loves to work in the dirt with me. But when I was growing up, it was always hot. I'm one of 6, so there were 8 of us in the house. So we had big gardens. And at the time, I didn't appreciate, you know, that Mama and Mama, my grandmother, were raising stuff for us. But that's how they made it. The beef cows and the garden, canning. But now I love it. If you would have asked me, even 10 years ago when Dennis and I first got married, I would have said, no way, I'm never having a garden. But I got a garden. And actually, the past few years, I've had 2 little gardens. And this year, we moved my garden because it rained so much. So instead of having 2 little ones, Dennis made me a big one. He plowed it first, which was cool to watch, and then he tilled it. And then he was gonna turn one of the gardens back into the yard, but then he wound up plowing it and tilling it. So I gotta plant some stuff there. That's gonna be really fun. But it's so wet. It's been so wet this year. That's why we're baling this field a little bit later than he'd like, and it's just, gotta make hay when the sun shines, but you can't really garden when your garden spot's too wet. Moisture's good in this field. I'm thankful for it. The other day it rained all around. It didn't rain here on this field or the other one that's close by, but he always mows these 2 fields together. And we get them up together because they're out here close by, so once you move all the equipment to this field, you might as well do that other field. Looks like it's doing good. I'll hop over here, pick up the end of this windrow. Yeah, this field has lots of memories though, because I want to say it's the only field I've ever raked in, but I raked it, and it was before he's got these rakes that he uses now. I really like these rakes. I like, it makes the windrows fluffy. I don't know, it seems like the air can get in there better. I don't know, he calls it a sunflower rake. I don't know the technical term. He knows all that stuff, so I don't worry about it. But I was using one of those, and the hay was thick, and it got all wadded up back there. I was up there at the top of the field, and I was raking along, and I looked back there, and it was a huge wad in between where it was pushing it all together, raking it in, kind of like a V. Oh, it was awful. So I got out of the tractor, and I had raised all the wheels up with the tines, you know, and I tried to spread it all out. Dennis, after the fact, you know, we always talk about stuff afterwards. He was laughing so hard, he said I shouldn't have worried about it. I should have just kept getting it. But I was worried, you know, because you don't want big old wads caught up, because what if there's a green spot in it? So I got out by hand, was spreading it all out. You know, he's operated equipment so long, he'll just do stuff with it, with the rake or with whatever, you know, he'll just drive and do it. He makes stuff look so easy. But I, being a rookie and newbie, I don't always know how to do that stuff, so I do it by hand and spread it all out. Man, that's thick right there. Slow it down. It's pretty though, I'm thankful. It's some real pretty thing. But this field I was raking, and he was showing me how to rake that day, and it was with the old, I think it was the TN95, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, he was showing me, and I took over, and he was in there with me, and I started raking, and I was watching the rake because I was trying to figure it out. You know, with baling, that's part of why I like baling, because you look forward, but then you watch back here a lot. So anyways, I guess I was used to that, and I was watching the rake and wasn't really paying attention to the front as much, and I was moving a lot faster, and I about ran that loader into the fence up there. But Dennis thankfully was in here with me. He about came unglued there for a few seconds. He was like, stop, 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 stop. Luckily though, he was in here. Otherwise we would have been fencing that day, at the end of the day probably. That's the only thing about this field. It's got fence all the way around, you know, on all four sides. So there's been many adventures in this field. Learning how to ted hay at night, rake hay, almost run through the fence with the front end loader. I think that's part of why he brings me, is for the entertainment. Because the last time I baled, which was a few weeks ago, I had taken the baby, you know, he's only 4 months old. I had taken the baby, I fed him, and then took him to my mom, and I got to the field a little later because we had miscommunicated. I thought he was going to call me, and he thought I was just going to come over there or call him. So anyways, I finally called him because I was waiting and waiting and wasn't hearing from him, and he said, well, I thought you were just going to come over here or call. So anywho, I got there later than I was supposed to, so he was already ready for me to get there and get at it. And normally he takes me around and shows me. I'd never driven this tractor, which is a very nice tractor. We're thankful for it. And the people we got it from, when he drove to a different state and everything, super, super kind, and worked with him really great. But anyways, I'd never driven it. I'd ridden with him, but never driven it. So instead of though taking me around and showing me how everything works, I just hopped in. He's like told me what gear he had been baling in and stuff, and he had stopped on a hill like this. I mean, seriously, it was so steep, because that field's got lots of those. That's what I was telling you about. And I took off, and I was on the radio with him, or maybe I was on the phone with him, and I said, it's too fast, it's too fast. He said, well, gear down. So I pushed the turtle, you know, geared it down. let off everything, the brake and clutch. It was still flying. I mean, it was flying. Oh, I locked it down. Well, I wasn't on that brake as much. I wasn't, you know, I'd locked down this brake, the right brake, more than the left, so wound up skinning some of the field up, and then sheared a pin because it was all wadded up in the pickup head. And he came over there to help me, because that's what he does. He's a good friend. He came over here and fixed the pin, and we dug it all out of the baler. And while I'm digging it out, he said he didn't understand what the problem was, you know, because I took it all the way down to B1 and it was still flying. So I'm digging hay out and praying about it, because I didn't know what in the world. I was not comfortable going that fast, and the baler wasn't keeping up, you know. I didn't put it in gear over here on the steering wheel. You know, I didn't actually put it in forward. You'd think after this many years of helping him that I would remember that detail. But I didn't. Instead, I have been feeding the baby and leaving him, trying to make sure he was good. And I guess I just lost my brain on the way to the field and forgot. So, we didn't have no more mishaps that day. Baling went good, so I got done baling, drove back to my mom's, fed the baby again. She kept him, went back to the field and started helping Dennis. I was driving this tractor, but they made that hitch so that you can hook the gooseneck to it. That's a really cool hitch. So I was driving this and moving it around, and he was loading the bales, so it was going a lot faster, you know, because we were getting to work together. And that was awesome until I started cutting it up the hill to turn and go back towards the driveway that goes through that field, and it would not turn up the hill. I'm telling you, it would not turn. So I got on the radio and I told him it wouldn't turn. So he told me to drive with the brakes. You know how some people can do that. Well, Dennis and my dad do that. And my mom doesn't like it. Me and her were talking about it later, because I was telling her this story. So he tells me to push the right brake to help turn up the hill, you know, cut it to the right and push the right brake. Well, I did, and when I did, I went from looking like this to looking up at the top of the trees, because the front end came up on this tractor. He again got on the radio, stop, stop, stop. And he didn't have to tell me I was stopping. I said, Jesus, because it scared me. And Dorsey was sitting beside me strapped in. He said, Jesus. I said, that's right. He helped us. We're okay. So I got out of the tractor. Dennis said it was a combination of things. You know, didn't have the front end loader on. Had the hitch up a little bit higher. So he lowered that and had a load of hay on. I don't know if it was 200 bales or more by that point. It was a lot. And I found out that I don't think I could ever be in a tractor pull. I don't think I could do it. Because I did not like that feeling when it raised up on me. It was not fun. I did not like it. After we got back down on the ground and everything was fine, Dennis was dying laughing in the Massey. He was over there sitting in Sassy Massey, and he was dying laughing. I said, I'm glad you thought it was funny. My heart went in my stomach. I had to pray. But after the fact, it was funny. And Dorsey, that his daddy thinks it's funny, Dorsey thought it was an adventure. So he said it was a buck and bull, that me and him were riding a buck and bull. He's over here bailing where I am now. You gotta love when you can work together like this, and he can round bale and I can square bale. Makes my heart happy. done.